Industry analysis maps the broad structural forces pushing against a business, but execution happens at the tactical layer, where a firm goes head-to-head with individual rivals. At this layer, a business engages with intelligent, self-interested counterparts, actively working to capture the same revenue. Effective competitive intelligence functions as a predictive model of what a rival will do next, moving beyond the static reports of historical profiling. Building that predictive model requires 3 specific steps: dissecting the internal anatomy of a specific rival, mapping the relational dynamics of the market, and identifying the exact triggers that force a competitor to act. This capability is a requirement for survival. The ultimate value of any strategic choice depends on how a rival responds to it. Predicting a rival's behavior starts with mapping their internal architecture. A complete profile evaluates them across 4 interlocking components. First is future objectives. A rival prioritizing rapid market expansion exhibits an aggressive posture, while a firm protecting profit margins defaults to defensive tactics. Second is current strategy. This evaluates how the rival competes today, their channels, pricing, and capital investments. Third is capabilities. These are the firm's financial and technological constraints. A constrained rival lacks the resources to execute certain capital-intensive responses. The final component is assumptions. These are the unstated internal beliefs a leadership team holds regarding their own position and the trajectory of their industry. Consider the legacy of Kodak and its total dominance in the physical film market. Kodak's leadership operated on the strict internal assumption that digital photography would never achieve the quality required to displace physical film. That single belief dictated a rigid set of behaviors, blinding them to market shifts and allowing agile competitors to overtake them. Interlocking a rival's timeline, tactics, constraints, and internal beliefs provides the evidence necessary to explicitly predict their likely proactive moves and their strategic blind spots. This matrix plots the relationship between 2 firms. The vertical axis measures market commonality, overlap in customer segments. The horizontal axis measures resource similarity, comparable technological capabilities. Firms in the top right quadrant share high commonality and similarity, generating intense, predictable warfare. The rivalry between Coca-Cola and Pepsi in the carbonated soft drink market is the textbook example. Their moves and countermoves are well matched and telegraphed. The true structural threat lies in the top left quadrant: high market commonality but low resource similarity. In the early 2000s, Blockbuster dominated the home entertainment market, using a resource base built on physical real estate and massive retail inventory. Netflix attacked that same customer base using a subscription and streaming resource stack. Their capabilities differed so significantly that the conflict became asymmetrical. We see the same pattern in modern automotive manufacturing. Ford's historical dominance relied on conventional internal combustion engineering and a network of physical dealerships. Tesla entered the identical vehicle market, but their resource base was anchored in battery chemistry, over-the-air software updates, and a direct-to-consumer sales model. Because their capabilities looked distinctly different, traditional automakers were slow to recognize them as a direct threat. This matrix also tracks the vector of change. Firms with highly adaptable technology can originate in an unrelated market, only to rapidly shift their scope and attack incumbents from an unexpected angle. Amazon leveraged the logistical and digital infrastructure it built as an online bookstore to expand across general retail, cloud computing, and groceries. Market leaders routinely fail to defend their positions because their strategy frameworks over-index on symmetric rivals, blinding them to competitors attacking from an asymmetrical base. Observing a threat doesn't guarantee a response. Before a competitor executes a countermove, the decision must pass through 3 sequential logic gates. The first is awareness. Many firms fail to respond simply because they do not recognize the competitive threat in time. When consumer preferences shifted away from rigid denim toward athleisure, Levi's lost market share. They had the production capacity to pivot, but their internal monitoring systems were too slow to spot the behavioral shift. The second gate is motivation. This is the explicit incentive to act, dictated by how directly a new threat impacts a firm's core revenue stream. Peripheral threats are routinely ignored. When TikTok began capturing user attention, it posed a direct threat to Instagram's advertising model. That immediate motivation drove Meta to scale Instagram Reels. The final gate is ability. Even if a rival is fully aware of a threat and motivated to counter it, they cannot meaningfully retaliate if they lack the liquid capital or organizational readiness to execute. If a strategic threat fails to trigger any one of these three filters, the competitor's response will likely be delayed, partial, or absent altogether. True strategic intelligence requires mapping the entire surrounding network, placing the firm within a broader value system of allies and adversaries. This includes complementers, third-party firms whose products or services increase the value of the focal firm's offerings. The technology sector provides the clearest baseline. The development of powerful silicon processors is what made complex operating systems viable. Microsoft's software capabilities acted as the ultimate complementer to Intel's hardware. The two products locked together to generate massive, self-reinforcing ecosystem demand. This introduces the dynamic of co-opetition. Firms simultaneously cooperate with complementers to expand the total size of the market, while fiercely competing with rivals over the division of those newly created profits. Ignoring this network is a critical error. Failing to cultivate strategic relationships with complementers isolates a firm and degrades its overall value proposition. By interlocking a rival's internal anatomy, mapping their relational symmetry, and modeling their execution filters, a business graduates from merely reacting to market forces. It begins actively engineering the outcomes.